Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hear the school's back in session. Whether or not anybody's actually going to school right now, I'm not quite sure. But I thought that would be an occasion for me to bring out my school desk, put my seat down, and share some poetry with you. Yeah, I know I don't have kids, but I've got a school desk in my library. Don't ask me to explain it, other than it's just a cool retro thing to be able to have if I can have something like that in my house, I guess. Welcome everybody. The reason why I'm here right now on a Tuesday night approaching 7 o'clock is because I see people wanting to come in and invite into a page, and hi everybody, running live. Back when I ran my poetry open mic, the Cafe Gallery, I would come in at 7 o'clock and I'd have to finish by 9 o'clock because we had a music act running afterward at the Gallery Cabaret. And because of this, I'd have to get started even when poets are perpetually late and they wouldn't be there right at 7 o'clock. So I would often read from a recently released Scars Publications book, which is why I am reinstating that policy. Not because the open mic is running, because I handed it over to Dave Getchik and he ran it, and it's continuing to run it until COVID-19 has closed Gallery Cabaret for the time being in Chicago. But from the open mic, the Cafe Gallery, I would read things, and so I thought I would at this time on a Tuesday, right at 7 o'clock, read to you poems. So I'm going to try to read to you poems from the beginning of September events, from the newly released poetry collection book, Every Event of the Year, Volume 2, July through December. This is a book that is chock-filled with different themes because there are so many different events from one to the next that they stylistically change. So I'm going to read to you a few from this time period for you guys that have never been shared from this book before. The first three I've got here are ones for Grandparents' Day, which I believe is the first Sunday following Labor Day, I think. All of it is logged in here. I'm not going to go searching for the dates for everything for you guys, but I've got three very somber pieces that relate to grandparents, and I hope you enjoy them. This first one is a prose poem called A Life Goes By. 1978. Mom and Dad on vacation, sister in college, Grandma babysitting. She taught me how to play gin rummy in the living room. I smudge the finish on the wood table every time I put my hands on it. We play cards for hours. 1983, Grandma is over to babysit. Sister comes home. Why isn't dinner made ready, Grandma? I didn't know how to turn on the oven. She was such a sly old fox, my sister said, and she knew how to turn on an oven. Oh, got out of having to make dinner. The chicken Kiev was a half hour late. 1986, spring, Friday, 4:55 p.m. Mom and Dad and sister dressed for dinner. Dad is waiting for Mom at the door. They still had to pick up Grandma before they'd go to Mike Moy's restaurant. Mom is checking her eye makeup in the bedroom mirror. I stand in the doorway to a room. Are you sure you don't want to go with us? She asks. I'd rather stay in the house by myself, play loud music. I was rebellious. I was a rebellious youth. I say no. Tell Grandma I said hi. 1988, sister calls. Grandma's moving to Arizona, she says. She's going to be with Aunt Rose. She's leaving in 5 days. 3 days later, I call her. I tell her I'll try to visit her next summer. I tell her I will miss her. I already do miss her. She says she loves me. I hang up the phone, thinking that she usually doesn't say that she loves people. She's usually affectionate. I start to cry. 3 days later, I visit family. Father hugs me. He hiccups while crying. She died in the morning, they explain to me. But don't worry about that now. We're going to a Christmas party. I'm in the car. Sister is driving to the family party. We are quiet. She finally speaks. Are you okay? And I tell her that I will be fine. What she doesn't realize is that I don't say that I am fine. I don't say that I'm fine. I look at her face. She turns her head from the road to look at me. I notice now that we really do look alike. Something in Sister is dead. She is hiding the pain, and it is killing a piece of her. I think a part of me is dying, too. At the party, everyone is laughing. Brothers, sisters, nephews, and niece, and uncle. The sister-in-law says to me, she says hello. I'm sorry. I try to get drunk on punch. Sister pulls out a pile of presents for the family. They are from Grandma. Jesus Christ. She hasn't just died this morning. Somebody say something. She bought me a pair of earrings. I want to give a wave and say hi to people that are watching me live from this for the intro book readings for in honor of the Cafe Gallery open mic, how I used to read from books at that time for the open mic when it was running in Chicago. I'm doing pieces for Grandparents' Day. I still have those earrings, by the way. They're a bunch of circles. They're cool earrings. I like them. Just wanted to share. But as I said, these are somber pieces. They're about grandparents. But this is in honor of Grandparents' Day. This is the next one from the book Every Event of the Year, Volume 2, July through December. This one is called Conversations, A Day of Grieving, 1/22/94. This is number 4. There are a bunch of pieces in this theme, but this one relates to grandparents. I was 10 when my grandfather died. We visited him the week before, and his last words to me were, "You are the most beautiful girl in the world." I went to the funeral. His eyes were closed, dressed in a suit, hands folded. He never wore a suit. And everyone, brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, talked about past weddings, other times together. I wanted to tell them to pay him some respect. Don't laugh. Don't be happy. He's in that coffin, up there. He's in front of the room, and he's dead. They're going to bury him tomorrow. But this is how things were, and I was only 10. I got one more for Grandparents' Day. It's about that same man. It is. And in honor of that, for Grandparents' Day, this poem, and it'll be the last grandparents poem for Grandparents' Day. Grandparents are wonderful people. I'm sorry that these are the ones that I'm reading to you. It's not all of them in this book, but this poem is called Not Knowing. Once I saw my grandfather in the casket at his funeral. My dad took me to a restaurant to eat some food. I was in the car along with my dad, then in a restaurant alone with my dad. We didn't speak. I couldn't think of a thing to say. I'm sure I ate, but I think that they thought that they needed to get me away from that death at that funeral. I don't know if I needed to get away or not, but there I was, little me, with my dad at a restaurant, taking a break from seeing his dead father. I'm sure we ate, but otherwise, I sat there, not knowing what to do. Just so you guys know, if you're interested in anything about this book, sometimes if there are poems that are short enough, this is long, but I did it anyway. If there would be a poem that could be put into an image, I would. This one has an Instagram image that also went into Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter, and I did all those things because we try to be able to get poetry out in as many ways as possible. I think I'm going to share one, maybe two poems for you in this section. This first one was written for September 8th, and it was for the day that they decided that women could do actual distance work for the military. And they did this after two women actually rode in motorcycles like 6,500 miles across the country to be able to go and do this, to prove a point that women can do these things. And this was written on the 8th of September for this event, and this poem is called "You've Tucked Us Women Away." People say we can't play with the big boys, like we don't have the stones, but our stones are so much bigger and have been polished over the years because we've handled almost everything. You think we're not strong enough. You think we don't have the endurance. So please allow me to relieve this unease, and please allow me to give you the belief that these women can do all the world needs. You've tucked us women away for millennia while we took care of you, your home, your family, while you went out and acted so important. And what you didn't realize, what you never realized, is that we women are important too. We've proven that every day of our lives. You just never noticed. So maybe it's time for you to watch and see how we can really roar. That one was for September 8th, and I believe the last one I am going to do, I might do two, just because I say so. This first one of the last two, sure, I'll do two more. This first one was written on and for the 13th of September, which is the day that Khrushchev actually became the general secretary in charge in communist Soviet Union at the time, in 56 maybe? I don't remember the year, but it's in the table of contents of this. And if you want to know more about the date, well, I guess you can look it up, or you can buy this book. Every event of the year, volume 2, July through December. But this poem is called Khrushchev. During the Cold War, Elton John released an album and a single, Nikita. Oh, Nikita, you will never know anything about my home, counting 10 soldiers in a row. When they released a video for the song, Nikita was depicted as a blonde woman, East German border guard, with short hair. Perhaps they forgot that Nikita is a male name for Nikita Khrushchev. But he was the communist was running during the Cold War start. The video makers must have thought a woman would catch more eyes in their video, even if Elton John disagreed. Just after the recent death of Benito Mussolini, and from fascist to Führer, the death of Adolf Hitler, the left needed a new leader on their slippery slope from socialism, because National Socialism became the Nazi line, over to communism. And as we turn the page of the history books of destruction, we see the details of the years of the struggle each leader went through in order to achieve their power. There is no difference for communism. I look at recent leaders in Russian history and try to prove me wrong. It starts with leaders naming towns after themselves, but it always turns to expanding their space so they can feel they rule over more and more mindless masses. And no, it may not have been Khrushchev who heard Reagan proudly proclaim to tear down that wall, but as they struggle to power and domination, they do all the same things to try to put the people in their place. So I don't care if you're an actress playing a border guard or if your end goal is to rule a submissive nation. Our response is the same, Nikita. Stop trying to rule our lives. We don't like your song and dance, and we have the strength to make it on our own. That's what you do when you come up with this thing about Khrushchev, right? Anyway, I've got one more poem for you guys that is before next week in a potential reading. This is actually written for and on September 14th, which is Live Imaginative Day. Live Imaginative Day. Yeah, live creatively. This is what this day is all about, the 14th. Live Creative Day gives the poem Explore Your Imagination. Don't think of this as a command. Don't think of this as a commandment. That would be missing the point. We live our lives in the same routine, doing the same mundane things. It's a good idea to change things up. Change what you normally wear, or go to the garage and take some old house paint just to create new designs on paper. Or better yet, paint on old paper bags, or play the radio with new music to you. This is your chance to let go. So, explore your imagination. Be creative, because being creative makes us free. Suspend reality. See where it takes you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if I've got the time, I'll have to look at the time. If it's shortly after 7, I might be reading from another book in another live recording, in another live video feed for you all. I hope everyone is remaining safe. I hope everyone remains poetically inclined, and know each and every one of you that are all stuck out here like all of us right now, that you're all loved. Thank you all so very much, and I will see you soon. Thank you.